you rate St Johnstone's chances come this weekend?
I think it's going to be a tough game for them. I think they kind of poked the fire a little bit there last week with the performance against them. A few wee tactics they had in the game. So I think for me it's who's fit, who's available. I hear they've got a few wee niggly injuries. They've got a few guys who might be missing. So I think it's going to be really tough. But it's a cup game. From previous experience, obviously managing St Johnstone these cups, we actually played Celtic in the semi-final here. They beat us 1-0. It was actually quite a close game. So I think they've got to take confidence from last week in what they can do. But I think all things have to align for them a little bit to get through. But they'll be going into it thinking, it's one game. We have a chance. We have an opportunity to, again, it's all about creating history. We talked about Rory McIlroy a little bit last night, and creating history, you have to be brave enough to go and try and get the job done. And I think that'll be the message. That certainly was the message last time. We played them. Obviously played in semi-finals here as well with St Johnstone. So I think that's the message. Go and have the courage and go and be brave to try and achieve something. And if you don't, at least you give it a go and you can bounce back again, and then go and try again.
How would you assess the state of the club at the moment and the job that the manager's doing?
Yeah, I think it's a tough one. I think obviously new owners, so probably a little bit unknown for me. Again, it's turnover of players. I think when we obviously won the cups, it was then very difficult to keep the squad together because they all left. We couldn't afford to keep them, so it became a turnover, a little bit of a turnover, too many. I think St Johnstone's success over the years has been built on stability and that kind of ethos of bringing one or two players in every year and trying to build and try to keep that nucleus of squad together. So yeah, I think it's a tough one. I think the league's really tough. I think it's a really tough league. Teams are spending money, more so now. St Johnstone obviously don't have that financial clout. So again, Simo have watched a few of the games. Some been good, some not so good. He tries to play a certain way. I think that's the key for me. Will come Sunday will be, they will try and play St Johnstone. Celtic are brilliant at pressing. Their high pressure, their regains are fantastic when they lose the ball. So all these things, and with the club, it's a tough position they're in the league. Is the semi-final help or a hindrance to them? In their fight for survival, probably is a bit of a hindrance, really, because obviously it's another huge game physically and mentally for the players. So I think, yeah, it's a tough one. They're in a tough position at the moment. Hopefully the stability is there that if they do go down, they'll be in a position where they can go back up again.
What do you think would be bigger for the club, Callum, to stay in the top tier or to go on and lift the trophy and be in the history books like your group?
I think probably, if you ask me, what it'd be obviously, you get judged probably by your league performances. So I think it'd be league first and foremost for the financial security of the club. Again, it's great, obviously winning trophies. I think it's magic. It's magical sort of times to do that for a club like St Johnstone. So yeah, I'd probably say that the league would probably be more important, but they won't be thinking of it like that. They're thinking, come on, let's have a go. Let's see what we can do.
What are the key sort of characteristics you saw from your players during those two cup runs and cup successes that you had at your time that led to that success?
For me, it was a bit of resilience. We're really good without the ball. At that time, I thought our organisation, our levels of energy, our understanding of how we played as a team, how we played together, how we performed big matches. Obviously, remember the final. I think we scored, I think Sean scored, roughly 30th minute or something. He scored, and I thought at that point we've got a real chance here because we can stick together. We can sort of fight and be organised and be very difficult to beat. I think that's where we were as a club, and that was the biggest characteristic I saw. That enthusiasm not to concede, and it helps you in games. It gives you that wee bit of belief, and then from that you get the belief, you get confidence, and then you think, right, I can win this game. And as a group, we believe that we went to every game. We can win the game. Remember the semi-final here, I was standing right behind Glenn Middleton, hit a free kick. It's probably the nicest feeling, apart from hitting a driver 300 yards down the middle. It's probably the sweetest sound I've heard. He swept one in the stanchion to get us to the final, and all those little bits of magic, help you get there, along with that sort of, what I call that discipline, that kind of resilience to succeed.
That resilience and that build-up that you had from that team, was that a sort of process that built up over time, and maybe that's what's different about this team going into a game like this, that because it's been quite a disjointed season, it might be quite hard to garner that this weekend?
Yeah, I think so. I think we're obviously we're quite successful in the league at the time as well. So I think we didn't really get too many injuries either. That's another thing people don't really talk about too much. Injuries to big players. St Johnstone don't have huge squads. At the time we didn't have a big squad at the time either. We used something like 19 players the whole season. So I think you're right. It's that belief, and it comes with games. It comes with lots of games. That's a good question because it's so relevant to performance levels and consistency. Against St Johnstone this year, watched them, they've been really good, so probably that inconsistency in the performance hasn't been there, but it is one-off, and hopefully they can go in there with a fighting chance to get to the final.
You masterminded one of the biggest cup upsets, obviously, earlier in this season. St Johnstone, maybe look at a game like that and go against all odds, it can be done. Yeah,
definitely. I think that's why we love cup competitions. I think that's why we all really enjoy it, and I think you realise how special the Scottish Cup is. You know, you think of the magic moments in the history of the game and the history of the cup, and he managed to achieve one earlier on, which was a phenomenal achievement, and hopefully St Johnstone can have a look at that and go, right, we have the opportunity to do that as well. It will be a huge upset if St Johnstone win, but they have got to be on the game. Celtic have to have a wee off day. Watch Celtic on this last weekend, and they were phenomenal to start the game, and hopefully they don't start like that.
Do you feel they'll be able to take from that result a fortnight ago?
I think it has to be a big one. It has to be a big belief that they can actually get a result. There's a way they can play. There's a way they can try and hurt Celtic and cause Celtic problems. They are the form team in Scottish football. They are obviously they've won the majority of trophies in the last 5 or 6 years. So really tough. But I think that belief has to be there. You don't go into games thinking, I'm not sure we can win it. You got to go into the game thinking, right, we have an opportunity. And I imagine Simo will be there giving the players that belief, that confidence that they can achieve something, and looking at wee things, how they can hurt Celtic and what they can do without the ball and what they can do with the ball that can sort of galvanise the players and make them believe they can do something.
Good man.
Nice one, guys. Thank you, lads.